Hey everybody, and welcome back again. This is just going to be another little review video on HTTP because this is going to be the main topic of this course. When we're building servers, these rules that we've learned on the front end about how HTTP works and how we make requests, well, we need to set that up on the back end to listen for those types of requests and respond to them. So let's review what the four main request methods are with HTTP, what they're used for, and we should be good to get going. Okay, first and foremost, how do I get data from a website? Well, that is through the HTTP method called GET. So a GET request fetches data. And this can come in a lot of different forms. The APIs we are going to be building, the servers we are going to be building, and I'm going to be using those two words fairly interchangeably, they're going to be mainly for fetching JSON data from a database. Now, there are other servers and APIs out there that don't necessarily always interact with the database. They may be hosting the website. They may have all your different HTML pages on the back end, and when you make a GET request, instead of sending JSON data, it sends you an HTML page instead. So that is still a very valid option. It's called server-side programming. We do it all the time with websites. It's just another way to do it. That's just not how we're going to be doing it when we're building our websites with React, right? We're building the front end with a library. The back end is for storing a lot of the data and functionality that the front end will need. All right, so to summarize for our course, we will just be fetching data, pure JSON data, but know that there are other types of servers out there that can send back other types of responses. Okay, so GET request. We'll be doing it to fetch data, specifically JSON, JavaScript object notation. All right, well, let's say I am new to a website and I am signing up and I'm giving them my username and my password and I hit enter. What type of request does that send to the server to go save my information in the database for the first time? All right, that is the POST request. So this saves data. All right, so any new, if you're on Twitter, you make a new tweet, there's a post request. Or if you're doing a Instagram, you make a new post, there's a post request. You're saving new data to a database. All right, well, what if we need to update that data? What type of HTTP method allows us to update an existing item, one that's already been posted? Right, that is the PUT request. So this updates data. All right, and the last one, let's say I want to delete a post or remove something from a website. What is the HTTP method that allows me to do that? Yeah, pretty straightforward, but it is the delete request. And I'll say deletes data. All right, if you remember the CRUD acronym from back when we covered HTTP, this is a helpful acronym to memorize these four methods, and they stand for create, read, update, and destroy. Let's take a second. Which ones of these methods match up with which part of the acronym? Just test yourself, see if you can remember, and we'll go over it together. All right, so which goes to which? I'll change my color here. Create, that is the POST request. We're creating something in the database. All right, what about read? That is getting data to read. Update, well, it's right in the name here. It updates, PUT request, and then lastly, delete for destroy. So we've been seeing it like this so far. On our front end, we'll write something. If we're using Axios or Fetch, it's all pretty similar, but we'll say something like axios.get, and we'll give it an endpoint. We'll say go to / item or whatever the part of the data or the server we want to hit, and then it comes back with a .then that brings us a response. Well, on the back end of things, we'll have a route listening for this. So a route is something that sets up an endpoint. We'll go in much depth about these, but just to give you a visual example of what this will look like, this will send the request, and something on the back end, we'll call it our app, it will have a .get that listens for request at /item. So this is the front end. This is the back end. So when we send this request, it goes out. And when it hits the server finds a route that listens for GET requests to /item, and it runs its code. Eventually, it sends a response, and the front end receives it. So we should be getting used to writing this kind of code. You should have written it a bunch by now. We'll be doing it a bunch through this course, so you'll get much more practice. But we need to start thinking about this receiving end. How are we setting up these items on the back end that are always listening for a request to something like /item, and when it happens, it's just like an event listener you tie on the DOM. It's like a button you click. When I send this, it triggers this event, this route, and it fires off a bunch of code to do something. All right, let's move on.